It's so it's interesting. So I was away last week in Cape Verde, which was lovely and sunny and everything. And now we're back into jumpers again, so that's fine. But it's been a little bit of a week catching up with all the issues. One of the questions that was asked this week, which was just a short one, but it was just to check that everybody's on the same page, is that people's and employees' continuous service date starts from the date that they started, because somebody said, but I sent them the contract on the 5th of March. Is it from the 5th of March or from the 19th of March when they actually started? And it's when they actually started. So even if they says in the contract the 19th of March and then they delayed it to the 21st, it's the date they actually started, and you've added them to payroll and it's all going through. So just be aware of that when you're doing the continuous service dates. And also that if you haven't issued a P45, if they've been on your payroll system for 6 years, they have 6 years service. So if you need to part company with them, you are going to have to pay for the 6 years. You don't get to say, well, they only worked for 6 months and then they didn't do anything for a year and then they did 3 months. It is the fact that they're on that payroll system is the continuous service. So just be aware of that. If you've got particularly 0-hour staff who are under 2 years right now, it would be worth either after Easter or after the summer, giving them notice, issuing them with the P45 saying, thanks very much, off you go. And that breaks that continuity of service, and then putting them back on again when they come back for Christmas or Easter. So then that you have a bit more control over the length of service, particularly with the Employment Rights Bill coming in October, where they're probably going to remove the right to dismiss under 2 years. So that's the thing, is that we don't know the details of that yet. It's going through Parliament at the moment. It's coming to the final reading. It's not at royal assent yet. And then we're going to find out what the details are, I say loopholes. Obviously, they're legal loopholes, but how we then part company with anybody under 2 years. Is it a trial period of 6 to 9 months? Or is it that we have to follow that disciplinary process, settlement agreement or restructuring for everybody from day one, which is going to be a huge faff and obviously fantastic for my business. But I've got enough work to do at the moment with staff issues. I don't think we need extra work. Thank you very much. So yeah, just something to bear in mind, and that you're, particularly in food and beverage, that your line managers, your house manager, if you've got team leaders, that they are able to train your staff, any new staff, and teach them how to do stuff, and to also tell them nicely when they've done it wrong. We had one client where they're saying, well, we need to get rid of this person because they're not doing the work. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Have you told them that they're not doing it properly? Have you retrained them? And the house manager refused point blank to tell somebody that they were not cleaning the beer lines properly because they'll be upset with me. It's like, well, you're not shouting at them. You're just saying, you're not doing it the right way. Let me show you the right way. Okay, now you do it. Okay, great. Now you know how to do it. That's all you have to do. And the house manager refused. And if you have somebody in charge who refuses to do even that level of training and feedback, they are unsuitable for the position, because you need somebody who intervenes early and effectively to deal with these things. Okay. Have we got any questions today, Mark?
Can I just ask a question based on that then? Contracts. So for my property company, I'll be doing contracts and things away. And obviously, start date is the start date we've always had. Yeah. That contract date. So I've done this morning actually things away. So I've done it for the 1st of April to give them time to review it. Is that date doesn't really matter. It's more the other date is more important.
The continuous service date is more important, but I wouldn't date it in the future. I would do it as of now, and then they have 4 weeks to. I mean, it's not tragic either way, but I would do it today's date. I'm giving it out, and then they've got 4 weeks to object. But it's fine to do it 1st of April as well. Yeah. Good. Okay, Lorraine, your camera is off today. I didn't know whether you had anything. I'm going to say we had a lot of out of offices when we sent out the invite this morning. So I think everybody's gone on holiday this week, all the people who don't have children. what else have we been doing? We've been doing lots of settlement agreements. I think we've done about 4 settlement agreements this week, which is an awful lot. And I got an ICO complaint, an Information Commissioner's Office complaint through by email today. And it's fascinating because I thought there's two employees at our clients who would do that, who've been moaning about stuff. And then I got an email through from the client saying, I just got this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, me too. So I know exactly which client it is or which employee it was. And this was a lady. We've mentioned this before, but it is fascinating because you really couldn't have made it up. So this was a lady who was hired to work in food and beverage. She was hired by her friend who she got on really well with until they fell out last July because there'd been a problem with the butcher and the butcher's delivery. And the employee felt that the butcher should be paid despite everything. And her friend, who was actually the house manager, was like, well, 1, it's none of your business. And 2, no, because there are problems with it and we need to sort out the problems. They had a blazing row at the golf club and the employee stormed out. Okay. She then called in sick and was off with mental health issues. She was really stressed until January this year. But while she was off, she kept raising grievances, saying she wasn't being paid correctly. She was being paid correctly. And she'd been paid her holiday pay. She'd been paid it out because she continues to accrue it, but she hadn't been told, and you can't do that. And it's like, well, we can do that. So basically everything we did, she would object to, and she couldn't possibly do a Zoom call for a grievance meeting. She had to have face-to-face. So we had to arrange somebody to visit on site and do that. And then her sick note was going to run out on the 6th of January. And we're like, okay, but we'll get another one. And then she's like, okay, so I'm going to be back at work 7th of January. And we're like, well, okay, you're scheduled to work on the 9th. And she's like, okay, so I'll be in on the 9th. And we're like, oh, okay, really not expecting that, thinking it's just another ploy. I mean, she wasn't really being paid anything at that point because she'd been off for 28 weeks and that's how long you get SSP for. But she actually turned up on the Thursday morning at work. And the only reason we hadn't terminated her, because she had only started in the July, so she's well under 1 year, let alone 2 years, is because of the mental health issues. And she was saying she was so stressed and everything. And we're like, okay, well, you don't dismiss while they're off sick. We'll do it. Should she ever come back, we'll try and deal with it. So we had the plan is that if she comes back, we will have the club manager will have the investigation meeting for the incident last July, which sounds preposterous, but the investigation meeting for the incident last July. And then we will probably terminate after he's done the investigation meeting. We might do disciplinary, but it's highly unlikely because she's under 1 year. We'll just do that. And I said, you need to record it. And he did, which was brilliant because he said, look, come in, can I have a word? I'd like to do an investigation meeting. She's like, you can't do an investigation meeting. It's like, yes, I can. No, I only came back to work. You can't have a meeting with me without telling me. It's like, well, we can have a meeting with you without telling you because an investigation meeting does not require that you don't have to tell them in advance. You can just say, can I have a word? Which is what we did. And he said, look, I just want to talk through the situation last July. Oh, well, you've got it all wrong. And he said, yes, that's why I want to talk it through with you. So you have your chance to put your side of the story across. And she said, well, I'm not doing a meeting with you because I resign. And he's like, no, I just want to have an investigation meeting with you. And she's like, no, I'm resigning. You can't have a meeting with me. And then he lost it a little bit. And he said, well, you can't resign because I'm firing you. And it's like, no, we'll take the resignation. It's fine. It's okay. And then she's like, no, you can't talk to me because I've resigned and I'm leaving now and I'm not coming back. And he said 2.5 minutes that took, 2.5 minutes. And so we didn't have to pay any notice at all. She's resigned 3 times in 2.5 minutes. We have that as a recording. And she then came back and said, oh, I don't know why you thought I'd resigned. There you go. There's the recording. You've resigned 3 times with immediate effect. Oh, and she has already started ACAS early conciliation, of course. She hasn't got to tribunal stage because she just hasn't yet. And she's saying, well, it's unfair dismissal because the club manager wanted to dismiss her because she asked for a subject access request. Again, another ploy to make our lives unpleasant. And one of the emails had said, oh, it'd be much easier if she left. Yes, but we didn't do that because you resigned. We did not dismiss you. Therefore, there is no unfair dismissal or constructive dismissal. You did it to avoid a potential disciplinary. So yeah, we did make an offer to her just to try and make it go away of £500 tax-free. I think she's asking for £18,000 with injury to feelings, and she wanted a donation of £1,000 to the NHS as well. And ACAS have already said to her, no, you can't put donations in your tribunal claim. It's about money for you. If you want to give £1,000 to the NHS, that's your choice. But you don't put it in here. And she's like, no, you got to put it in there. And you've got to pay the butcher that didn't get paid last July. You've got to pay him. And we're like, no, nothing to do with you. Go away. So that is still outstanding. But she has now started the ICO because I don't understand why you're telling the HR consultants who are coming on site to have the grievance meetings. I don't know why you're giving them information up front. Well, so that they can understand your grievance and have an intelligent conversation with you. Yeah, but you shouldn't be giving it to them. It's confidential. That you can't tell them that I'm ill, but you are ill, and we've got sick notes, and that's part of the grievance is that you're off ill, and you're saying you're not being paid enough SSP, so they need to know you're off ill. So I'm interested to see what this ICO claim is. It's the first time ever. So yeah, that's going to probably turn into a blog about how the ICO is. It's a perfectly pleasant email saying, can you confirm who the data, not data protection officer, well, data processing officer is. So I'm sure I will get something through, and then I will break out the hard liquor later this afternoon when I read through all the details of everything that I have to say. No, I would never share any of that information. And it's interesting as well, because we've got another club where also the employee went round telling everybody that they were trying for a family and and now their husband, they were then dismissed for lying. This was the person who went to a training course up in Edinburgh and didn't turn up because they were hungover the next morning, and then got surprised when they lied about it and were dismissed. And their husband's now writing letters to the club, even though he's not a member, saying this is very upsetting, all of this. Okay, not our fault. She's the one who got hungover and didn't do what she was supposed to do. And how come everybody knows about the fact that we were trying for a family? I'm going to say, honestly, you're married. It's not an unreasonable thing to assume, given that you are trying for a family. It's not like people are accusing you of something that you're not actually doing. But let's be clear, the employer herself went around telling everybody you were trying for a family. And he's like, no, it's the committee. The people who were in the meetings have breached confidentiality. We haven't, because we really didn't want to talk about the situation to anybody else, because it was just such an awful situation. So it's just interesting how quickly people bring up the issue of confidentiality, and they're the ones who are breaching it themselves, to be honest. Right. Any other questions at the moment? I think everybody is having lunch while they're listening to me ranting on here. So,
Carolyne, do you do what's the word? Redaction? Is it?
Yeah. Well, we don't at the moment because we don't have the resource. But we're going to be doing some more recruiting, so we will have people who could do that. But we do charge by the hour for that, so it can get quite expensive. I'm just saying. Yeah, because what you do is you can redact it in Adobe Acrobat, and then you can't ever take the black off. So really, it's gone forever, sort of thing, which is quite effective, and that has been profoundly satisfying to send through to obstreperous employees who are like, I want all the minutes. It's like, you can have the minutes that mention you, but everything else is blacked out because it's got nothing to do with you. So, the other thing that came up again this week as well, slightly different thing, but it is about trust, is that we do often get from committees the statement that the trust and confidence in this person is gone, and therefore we want to fire them. And Nadia's doing an advanced employment law course, And they'd covered that this week. And the barrister who runs that course said, if you try and use that in court as a reason for dismissal, you will be laughed out of court because it means nothing. You have to have evidence of wrongdoing, or you do it via a settlement agreement. But don't ever try and do a disciplinary based on the fact, oh, there's no trust and confidence. And committees are particularly bad at this. They're like, oh, so that's gross misconduct, so we can just dismiss and we get out of the 3 months notice period. And it's like, no, tell me what it is. Why don't we just do a settlement agreement and then it's straightforward? Oh, yeah, but we don't want to pay notice. Well, we did tell you before you hired them, sorry, I'm in one of those moods, before you hired them, that if you fired them, you'll have to pay the notice period. You said, yes, that's fine. We're never going to do that. And then 6 months later, you're saying, well, we don't want to pay it. Well, there you go. Short memories. But trust and confidence, it doesn't matter who it is. You have to have evidence of why they're not doing their job. And it's particularly frustrating when people say, well, the team are really upset about this, so this person needs to go. Okay, the head greenkeeper or the house manager are responsible for managing the team. The team are usually only upset by one person's behavior if they think that person is getting away with it, because the house manager or the head greenkeeper is not dealing with it in the correct way. That's when the team gets upset by it, not because there's somebody doing something wrong. If they can see that there are consequences for that, they're absolutely fine with it. But if they don't see any consequences, yes, that's going to upset them. But the line manager is responsible for making sure that the team understand that not every situation can just be solved by saying you're fired, like on The Apprentice. Okay, if somebody's got long-term sickness, we have to take proper steps to ensure a proper process is going through. Saying, oh, there's no trust and confidence and nobody wants to work with them because they just don't like them is not a reason for dismissal per se, certainly not without doing a settlement agreement. So it's just, when we get that through as an email, it's like, delete that bit, because actually it's irrelevant. Tell me what they've done wrong. I appreciate people can be very irritating. We all know people who breathe wrong, but you need to have evidence, or you need to be willing to pay in a settlement agreement to part company. So that's the end of this week. If there are any other questions, I'm sure we'll have lots more horror stories next week. And anything in the meantime, just give us a call and we'll sort it out for you. Otherwise, have a lovely weekend and hopefully some sunshine and not just rain. Although it's supposed to be sleet today, isn't it? Something like that. So everybody take care and I will see you all next week. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want a free tribunal audit of your employment contract and handbook, click the link in the description below.